BYP Responds coming at you once again. It is already Tuesday, June 30th. 4th of July this weekend. I said we'd blink and it'd be here. It's here. I consider this extremely good news. And in my opinion, and you're free to disagree with me. That's okay. My faith in Avi Loeb has bumped up for this move that I'm about to share with you. In my opinion, this is extremely good news for the newly developed UAP government task force, whatever they're going to call it. I still don't know. But I have some exceptionally good news about this. And you're free to disagree with me. But in my opinion, this tells me Avi Loeb is stone cold serious about getting to the bottom of the UFO issue. And I can't help it. I really like that. Let me share a very exciting clip. Some of you will know this gentleman. Some of you won't. You all should know him. In my opinion, he's worth taking a look at. He is the founder of Skeptic magazine, Michael Shermer, one of the world-renowned skeptics. He has been invited to be on the task force with Avi Loeb. By Avi Loeb, if I'm understanding this right. In my opinion, we do need all points of view. I've said that. Come on. You know that's my status. That's my stance. On every subject, whether it's Tolkien, chess, whatever it is, gardening, etc. Let me share this clip. Let me share some clips from Michael Shermer, who makes, in my opinion, some very good points. Not that I'm in 100% agreement with him. I've read several of his books. That doesn't mean I accept everything he's written. Just because someone writes a book doesn't mean all of a sudden everything they tout is true, accurate, scientifically credible, etc. That's not how it's ever worked, ever. I reserve the right to be skeptical of a skeptic. And I have been. Right? So let's take a look.
Hey everyone, it's Michael Shermer. It's time for another episode of the Michael Shermer Show. This one, another Shermer Says solo commentary. Today, I'm talking about, well, a lot about aliens, although I have a few comments about a few other things at the end. But just to reiterate what I've been announcing on X and then in our newsletter for Skeptic, the UAP Science Advisory Council. I'm a member of this team organized by Avi Loeb at Harvard. Avi is the longtime leader, 5 years now, next month, of the Galileo Project, which he heads up at Harvard in order to find out what's actually going on with UAPs, that is unidentified anomalous phenomenon, formerly known as UFOs. So the idea of the Galileo Project is to actually have observatories that we build, so it's not classified government data or anything like that. The skies are not classified, as Avi likes to say, right? So we're going to record these things and see if we can find anything. We haven't found anything yet. But that's the idea, to move beyond stories, anecdotes about spooky things in the night sky, to move and get clearer data than the grainy videos and blurry photographs we're all used to seeing of the UFOs and the UAPs and so on. Anyway, so Avi was tasked through his contacts in government all the way up to the top to organize an actual UAP investigation group specifically to address the UAP or the UFO files that are being released by the government. So that's what we're doing. And there's a team of 15 of us total from all the different sciences. Avi says, quote, since UAPs are physical objects that interact with humans, the council includes members with expertise in physical sciences as well as psychology and biology. All members had an intense interest in the scientific study of UAPs for many years. Rather than revisiting decades-old cases that lack reliable evidence, the council's mission is focused on gathering better data and applying modern scientific methods to current reports.
I think that's exceptional. That mission statement really gives me hope for this advisory committee. And again, my fear is that if they're gathering all of the best minds under a government umbrella to silence them, then this is going to be the most unmitigated disaster we, the public, have ever had. Hopefully that won't be the case. I can't imagine the government being able to shut up Michael Shermer. However, he's skeptical all the way, and he really likes taking on conspiracies. For him to become part of one, that might be interesting. That could be fireworks. We'll see. I am excited because you do want believers. You do want skeptics. You do want scientists. You do want sociologists, psychologists. I am hoping on this committee are also some actual experiencers. I have not heard if that's the case. If not, it has to be, in my opinion. I will find a way to contact them if I can at all possible. If any of you have any idea on how to, maybe I'll just start commenting on Avi Loeb's videos to let my views out to him. In fact, I think I will. But I would want to see actual experiencers on this council also. Now, Shermer goes forward and makes an exquisitely interesting point from none other than Mark Kelly, who is a stellar voice in the government and a stellar voice in the UFO situation. So it appears to me that the correct people are being involved finally in a group of a common goal, not an antagonism. Let's face it, Michael Shermer has been at the forefront, along with James Randi, Isaac Asimov, and others, Arthur C. Clarke, some of the world famous authors of science fiction as well as science. They've been on the forefront of debunking, and now it's really nice to see them coming together with those who actually say, look, there's evidence, we're going to explore it. And in fact, our project is going to not be government sponsored, but we ourselves are going to build observatories, and we are going to look for the evidence as well. Look, that's a win-win in my opinion. That I don't know how else to express that. This gives me hope. This gives me hope. Let's keep going with Michael Shermer, who really surprises me with his next several comments. I'm in complete agreement. In one way or another, I have expressed this, but who he's using to make his points is very encouraging, in my opinion. And it should get us all pretty excited. This gives me the impression, at this point, it's all an impression. I'm with you. We shall see. I'm going to hold these guys' toes to the fire, as it were, even though I'm literally a nobody and they're somebody. I'm still going to speak out when I see something amiss, right? But listen to how this is approached. I personally like it.
Hey, yeah, exactly. In addition to physicists and biologists, those of us who study psychology and how people reason or not are important to the understanding of the UAPs. Okay, I add this because there's been a lot of pushback on X. Weird. I mean, just angry stuff by the UAP people. That is, other people who want to own this topic as their own, because I don't know why they have podcasts or they write books or whatever. They're the experts you've all seen on these congressional hearings and so on. It's the same people always. These are the people that tell us that the aliens are here, but the whole SETI project is a waste of time. We don't need to search for them out there. They're already here, according to them. And we have them. Okay. So you'll hear, I'll show you an example in video in just a moment, but from David Grush. But you hear Grush and others say, I know somebody that saw the aliens, or I know somebody that knows somebody that was actually inside the spaceship. Okay. Well, who is this? Oh, I can't tell you. It's classified, or they're afraid for their life, or if they came forward, the men in black would go make them disappear, like the whole dead and missing scientist meme that went around for a while that was now thoroughly debunked by us and others. And, there's nothing to explain. In any case, I've commented on that before. And so, enough of these stories. Okay. It's, if you can't show us, if it's always just out of reach, which it always is. And so people take this in a very hostile way, like I'm being unfair, dogmatic, closed-minded, flatlander.
Now, this is interesting because I have seen some criticism of David Grush in the UFO community. Those of us on YouTube, especially, that's what I would call the UFO community, that he isn't a real true whistleblower. He's not an experiencer. He is simply relaying stories. Now, that's a legitimate point, and that is the point of a fulcrum that has gotten a lot of attention recently, again, from Neil deGrasse Tyson, whom I'm not a fan of, and now Michael Shermer, whom I am a fan of, and others. There's no unification of thinking here, nor should there be. But there is opposite poles of tension being brought together in a group to try to work through it. In my opinion, this is how it should be. Seriously. I am hopeful. I am hopeful.
But folks, I've been hearing stories of disclosure coming since we started Skeptic magazine in 1992. There's the artwork for our first cover, Isaac Asimov, right? The great science fiction writer who explored these ideas way back when. So since then, we've been hearing, really since Sagan's days in the 60s and 70s, looking at extraterrestrials, we've been hearing about these stories. I have a bookcase full of books of people back in the 50s who said they interacted with the aliens and so on, but they can never show us. They never take clear photos. They never grab a little object off the dashboard of the spaceship and show it to us and so on. And it's so frustrating. So my frustration is not dogmatic closed-mindedness. It's just tired of hearing about disclosure and never showing anything. What's the difference between these people that cannot be talked about, introduced, met? We're not allowed to go see the warehouse where the aliens are, and no alien or UFO spaceships at all. There's no difference. There's no reason to believe. Okay. But these, by the way, I have a $1,000 bet with Javi that by December 31st, 2030, we will not have disclosure of aliens, as determined by 2 of 3 national science bodies, including NASA, National Science Foundation, and the AAAS. If 2 of the 3 of those say alien contact has been disclosed and made, we are not alone. Okay, I'll accept it, and he'll win the $1,000, and I won't. But if not, then I win the $1,000. Either way, the Galileo Project gets the money because I support them. Anyway, so the response I get from everybody is that, oh, but David Grush is an intelligence officer, or Ryan Graves is a Navy pilot, and so as if the credentials make any difference at all, which they don't. Let me read to you a clip from Scott Kelly about the reliability of high-valued, credentialed pilots and astronauts. Okay, so Scott Kelly is the famous astronaut and pilot. He has a twin brother, Mark, who's also a senator now. Both have been in the space shuttle. Here's Scott Kelly I quote him in my book. In my experience of flying over 15,000 hours in 30-something years in airplanes and in space, the environment that we fly in is very conducive to optical illusions. So I get why these pilots would look at that go fast video and think it was going really fast. I remember one time I was flying off Virginia Beach Military Operating Area, and my RIO, R-I-O, radar intercept officer, who sits in the back of the Tomcat, was convinced we flew by a UFO. Wow. I didn't see it, so we turned around to go look at it. It turns out it was a Bart Simpson balloon. My brother, Mark Kelly, a former NASA astronaut and now also a U.S. Senator, shared a story with me about an experience he had years ago that when he was the commander of the STS-124, the space shuttle, they were getting ready to close the payload bay doors of the space shuttle, and they see something in the payload bay, and they thought it was a tool, maybe a bolt. They couldn't quite figure it out, and they were potentially going to have to go and do a spacewalk to retrieve it. But before they did that, my brother grabbed the camera, and they took a picture of it. And when they blew up the picture, they realized that it was not a bolt or a tool in the payload bay. It was actually the International Space Station 85 miles away. He says, there are cases where pilots have rendezvoused on a buoy because they thought that was their wingman. It's just a very, very challenging environment to work, especially at night. Okay?
Now, his experiences, I would add, do not prove all sightings, views of putative UFOs by various types of pilots are false. Not at all. That is not what Shermer is trying to establish. Not at all. What we need to bring to the table is the very real reality of our literal human limitation of observation as a reality that has contributed to the UFO phenomenon when it probably shouldn't be doing so. This is why we have to study it on a case-by-case basis. Now, to be fair, I have read and seen and heard criticisms of Michael Shermer also. It won't matter what evidence, the amount, etc., that he has shown. He is a professional skeptic, and he will always remain one, period, end of story, so he's no good either. He is as tainted and biased as anyone else. Okay, somewhat fair. He will, I hope he doesn't do this, but when the alien comes and talks to him, he's going to try to debunk it. Right? No, it's an interesting observation. I have read several of his books, and here's my stance, and I believe. See, that's right there. Oh, well, dude, there's no hope for you. I get it. I get it. I believe there is room for belief in this phenomenon. But I'm on Shermer's side in this respect that we just have to improve the quality of evidence, really, because most of it just doesn't work, man. I'm really wanting it to. That's why I was so vehemently angry at Jake Barber and the Skywatch team. I thought, at last, here we are. Well, so did Ross Coldhart, and so did a lot of others. That's why I'm bitter, more or less, about Lou Elizondo. You know, I bought his book. I read his... No, I'm not going to read his second book right now. I'm just not interested. But it is also why I have the deepest respect for Richard Dolan. Because from the historical viewpoint, this gets us so far. But we have to... The historical viewpoint is good to hear, and we got to get to here with something physical for the rest of us. There's the catch, right? So I am cautiously optimistic. I'll put it that way. In my opinion, at this point, now see, I don't know this, but from my point of view, this is indeed a good day. This is good news. We shall see. You know, we'll see how the council works together or doesn't. We will see what the quality of evidence will end up. I see Shermer as the quality control guy. I mean, you know, we want our food safe in our countries. To have quality control over how the food is processed is exquisitely important. And our stupid government has taken that away in this last 6 months. That's terrifying to me. I'm going to grow my own damn food then. Forget the food on the shelves. If they don't care enough about our health and safety to take away the ability to make sure our food is safely produced, then I'm not interested in buying any of that junk. No, sir. It's the same principle, the same theme and idea and philosophy with this. And I see it has good potential at this point, but we're just at the beginning of it. So I'm going to keep my eye on this. I just wanted to share with you why I personally view this as a very good thing, not as a final say-so, but as a good move. A move that I do believe we will be able to move forward in a meaningful way, in a way such that we aren't bamboozled as much by unfortunately, it's the psionics people who have caused so much of the problems. Isn't that wild? I was hoping it wouldn't be, but it's turned out to be that way. Psionics to me at this point, I'm not going to go out of my way to pursue it. No, I'm just not. And I get it. That's going to disappoint some people and all, but that doesn't mean I don't believe in the phenomenon. But there's got to be a better way than that. There's just because it has no legs. It has no ability to bring it into a reality so far as I can see. And I get it. Well, hey, dude, that's on you. Very well could be. I will accept that responsibility. I'll own that. Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm good with that. So anyway, thanks for watching the BYP response. As always, hit the like and subscribe. I will be back with more, which is pretty much every day, because there is a lot that appears to me to be important to discuss. It's always fun. It's always interesting. And I do enjoy all of your feedback. So I try to read all of the comments. Some of them I can't get to for a little bit. Just be patient with me, but I do read the comments. So thank you very much for all of your inputs. And I'll catch up to you soon. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening, and I'll see you later.